How are we gonna start this?
On
today's episode of Trope Troupe, we go over what makes some shows good, some shows mid as hell, some shows boring, and what the differences between them are. I guess. I don't know. I'm fucking sleep deprived.
It's sounding like today is the tired episode.
Welcome to
I
the
was
podcast.
asleep until 15 minutes ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I also took a lot of naps today.
Yeah, half an hour ago, actually. But yeah.
Peter's quirk is sleeping.
Hey, wait, that's mine.
Welcome to the podcast. I think.
Well, usually you say your name first.
I'm Melina.
What's
I'm
your quirk,
Peter.
Elena? It's your superhero self-insert OC.
I can draw really fast.
That's true.
Yeah, see?
That's not a self-insert, that's just true.
That's just you.
Okay, but
In reality.
maybe I have a quirk in real life. Fuck you.
The first quirk is not something interesting, like being a glow stick. It is actually it's just being able to draw really fast.
Yeah. Maybe
It's the only human
maybe
thing that can be gotten with years of practice.
maybe
Well, what's your quirk?
yeah. What's your quirk? Cole?
Making myself and people who I get in physical contact with sleepy.
Has not been my experience, but okay.
So it's your fault.
Obviously, it just doesn't work on some people. I didn't say it was a good one.
and Peter, what is yours?
Dementia.
I don't know. Alright.
It's an actively detrimental power to have.
You know? To my knowledge, the show never says the quirks have to be good.
No,
A lot of the background people have objectively shitty quirks.
Alright, well,
One guy who's just got like his head is a hammer, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah. Alright. Viewers or listeners, I don't know how you're consumers of this content.
Eaters.
If, in case you couldn't tell, the
Hello,
topic
clowns.
of today's podcast is My Hero Academia. And more specifically, how
We think it's boring.
we think it got
Yeah.
boring.
how it went from good enough to day.
Now, if you like the show and you don't think it's boring and that's all, like, that's fine. Like, we're not saying you're wrong or you're stupid or something. Like, you can like whatever you want. Just in our collective
I'm
opinion,
saying you're wrong.
just in our collective opinion, it got a little boring.
I'm taking the same approach that I take with this as I do with people who actually like Skyrim, and that is, man, I do wish I were you. I wish I could just like things in a normal capacity. I have to be weird about it, though. Required.
Yeah. Yeah, but Peter, this is technically your topic. So,
If you want me to lead things off,
It's on the list.
it is.
I don't fucking know where to begin.
Okay.
I guess the beginning.
The beginning, yeah. That's probably a good place to begin.
I mean, season 1 of My Hero Academia was just overall pretty captivating.
Yeah.
It was. I did like the entire thing.
It was, yeah.
I think part of what makes the first season captivating, and ergo, the first season of the anime, also the first bit of the manga. I don't know how many volumes the first season takes.
I don't know. I
It's an amount.
really fucking blazed through the manga for the first like 70 chapters.
Oh my god.
Manga chapters are really short. That's not a.
I don't manga, man. I don't know.
No, that's why I'm telling you.
I'm not a manga person.
I know this. That's why I'm informing you that manga chapters aren't very long.
Oh,
It can
okay.
vary.
Okay.
Although 70 chapters is still a lot, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me amend my reaction though. That's not impressive.
That is not what I was saying.
Okay.
Regardless, all of the manga, to the point of like season 4, I have no recollection of whether it was any different from the anime or not.
That probably means it wasn't substantially different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they remained pretty faithful to the manga for a long time, and then they started to animate it a lot faster and started running out of material.
Oh no.
The classic blunder. And that's just kind of what happens when you're adapting something that's still ongoing. Because, like, inevitably, because obviously there's going to be a difference in pacing between just a volume of manga and like a season of anime.
Yeah.
You can fit many chapters in an episode. And some of those chapters are like actually pretty short. Like some of the chapters that are entirely fight scenes are not going to take up an entire 20 minutes. Hopefully.
Please don't take a full 20 minutes, dear God.
No,
Let me just look at it.
we'll come back to that when we inevitably talk about Dragon Ball. I don't know if we're doing a full episode
I
on
don't
it
think
because
Dragon Ball is on the list.
Well,
It's
Peter,
not, and I don't wanna-
congratulations, you have.
no, I don't want it on the list
You
because
don't
none
want
of
it
us
on the
know
list?
anything about Dragon Ball.
I know a bit
I've
about
watched
Dragon Ball.
maybe 10 episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
I used to watch the Dragon Ball Z with my dad as like a child. that's all I got.
watched Dragon Ball
More
the same time
experience
that
than I
I
have.
watched Dragon Ball the same time I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh, which was like after I would get home from middle school.
Oh yeah, I think you mean
I would go into
yesterday.
the basement. What? What did you say?
I said yesterday because we were watching
No.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, we were watching Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
yesterday. No, the same time I watched Yu-Gi-Oh for the first time.
Ah, okay.
So let me tell you, that TV channel that I forget the name of had something going on because the only thing I remember them showing of Yu-Gi-Oh was the beginning, which is, I think, the best part.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we're crossing episode territories right now,
Sorry, it happens.
especially when we're tired.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll get through this tired episode.
Yeah. Anyway, first season of My Hero Academia was pretty good. Namely because it centered around Deku either not having powers or trying to not have his powers explode him.
Yeah, mostly the latter.
Yeah. God, the amount of times that kid just full on injured himself.
Breaks all of his bones all the time.
Just, oh man.
From my understanding, he is been for a while in the anime and the manga at a place where he no longer needs to break all the bones in his body.
Ooh.
Yeah, but naturally, in order to preserve any kind of tension, he does still break all the bones in his body when meeting anybody who does not immediately fold like a lawn chair.
Oh. That seems like a bad idea on his part. Is there anything from season 1 that the three of us can collectively remember that is
I
like standout moments? Maybe
Like,
bits of season 1 that didn't continue going forwards that make it become boring over time.
I remember Midoriya. Midoriya? That's the main character's
Yes,
name, right? Yeah. Being forced to eat All Might's hair.
Yeah, that's episode, like, it's the end of episode 1, I think.
Yeah, I was just,
yeah.
that. I don't know. It was really funny.
Real standout moment, the start of the show.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
I think All Might's. I think All Might fight in season 1 is a good example of something that was really fucking cool that did not really continue. Obviously, past season 3 because he retired.
Yeah.
But I think the show was ultimately a lot better when it was Deku in All Might's shadow.
Yeah.
To kind of, if we're all right with me being an advocate for Satan for a moment here,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do a little bit of that because I would say that contextually he is still in the shadow of All Might, because as the next person who's inheriting that, I always get the names between them confused. If it's one for all, it's one for all is the good boy quirk, right? And then all for one is the
Yes.
bad guy quirk.
Yeah. Which
Correct.
is interesting naming.
It's I think a not so great naming scheme. Just because I get them confused.
Yeah.
This is a bad name because I'm stupid.
It's a bad name because you transpose 2 of the words and that's it, and I get them confused in my brain frequently.
I get them all flipped around, and it's like, no, don't do that.
This is a bad naming scheme because I struggle with words times occasionally.
I blame my dementia on Horikoshi.
Horikoshi is responsible for my difficulty with language that I sometimes have. It's his fault. He did it to me. He hit me in the head with a wooden plank as a child.
Oh.
That's why I'm like this. It's his fault. But no, I would say that contextually within the story is still in the shadow of All Might because he is still having to deal with the fact that he has to fill the fucking shoes.
Yeah, he does have to fill the shoes.
They're big shoes.
They're really big shoes. All Might is fucking massive.
I was gonna say he's a big dude.
He's really.
Deku is not.
Yeah,
No.
Deku is small.
And he never will be. Hopefully. I think it's more interesting if he remains relatively puny.
Yeah.
Because we know from the beginning, where he is introducing us as the narrator, that he does become the best hero in the world by the end of the story.
Yeah.
And I just think it's more fun if that's just like a tiny guy. Okay, he can be 30 as long as he never breaks 6 feet tall.
He's like the little Mac of Punch Out.
Yeah.
He's really small, but he's a champion.
He'll kill you.
Yeah.
When I think of like big moments from season 1, personally, I think of like the training exam or the entrance exam.
Oh yeah.
Because that was first we were still introducing everyone, and it is when we see some of the more like actively creative uses of their powers for the first time.
That's
and
also
it's also still when Deku was breaking every bone in his body, but he was not doing it finger by finger at this point. He was doing entire limbs like a damn fool.
Because that was literally the first time he'd even used his power. So.
Yeah, and he was just trying to copy All Might, so he wasn't really thinking for himself.
That was interesting to me. That like they spent so much time training his body for the thing that when he actually got to the entrance exam, they never actually tested the thing. And so it's just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna fuck around and find out. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the implication is that, like, if he had not done the bodily training beforehand, it would not shatter all of his bones, it would explode his body.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
yeah.
Which is fine.
This is perfectly fine.
I mean, between the two, I would definitely choose breaking my arm in several places.
Oh god, yeah. So I'm gonna punch this
Rather than
giant robot, and then
liquefying.
just explodes into a bloody pile. And then the show ended.
Robot's gone, huh?
Yeah, the robot's gone. I passed. I also died, but I passed.
It was some really creative power use that, to my recollection, you don't end up seeing super frequently afterwards, which is kind of a shame. I'm currently thinking about Uraraka and her anti-gravity ability,
That one, yes.
and it's just I don't know. I feel like from what I remember of what I saw, which I
Yeah.
did not refresh myself very well, it's kind of sidelined pretty often.
Yeah, like yeah.
That's one of the issues with My Hero. Is what it tries to do. Is that it does try to focus on literally every character in that class, which is like 20 characters. So they're going to sideline a lot of characters for the sake of trying to make everybody a main character.
Yeah, which is you know,
Ambitious, but does not really work out as well as you might hope.
yeah.
No.
No.
It's doing. In all fairness, doing an ensemble cast is hard, but it's even more difficult when you aren't really marketing your thing as an ensemble cast.
Yeah, it takes like 2 seasons for that to even start to show itself.
Yeah.
Is it Horikoshi's fault that all of the marketing for his manga and the show that exists off of it involves mostly like 5 characters out of the much larger cast that exists?
Out of the 20 in the class, yeah, maybe it might be his fault a little bit, seeing as he did primarily focus in the first 3 or 4 seasons, or the manga equivalent of that, almost exclusively on Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Deku's 2 best friends.
Whose names you
others-
forget right now.
I forgot about Todoroki.
How could you? He's like one of the guys that everyone remembers.
I don't
Yeah,
listen.
he's Japanese Zuko.
Listen, if I for our audience and to remind you too, I watched this show when I got my wisdom teeth removed, and I was stoned as hell because I was on a bunch of painkillers. So there is probably huge swaths of this show that everyone else remembers, and I'm just gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Because I was high.
Todoroki's the one with the scar on his face and the ice and fire powers.
Oh,
really
And
strong.
daddy issues.
oh, that's
Yeah, and
him.
daddy
I was
issues.
thinking of a different. Who's the one with rocket legs?
That's Lita.
Oh, that's the one I forgot.
That's one of Dagger's best friends.
I forgot.
Or
about that
supposedly.
entirely. Just
What do you mean supposedly?
Are they really friends? I don't know. I kind of remember them not having friendly vibes. They just feel like
they do
associates.
kind of just not talk themselves into being friends.
I've convinced myself to be your friend.
They don't go over what happens off screen or just at all.
Yeah.
No, shit,
to-
I'm remembering things now.
Yeah, they don't really go over how people become friends with Deku. He just has main character syndrome.
It's just,
Oh boy.
he just got the vibes.
I love it when people get unfriends.
Yeah, I wanna. From the introduction bit with the entrance exam, I feel like Horikoshi kind of like blew all of the creative uses of a lot of people's powers pretty early, and then um had to figure out new ways of using them that he hadn't immediately thought of,
Yeah.
and it feels like he kind of struggled with that a little bit, which is a shame. I, as someone who's at this point in my life consumed, I feel like a pretty decent amount of both comics and manga. Um, I can, I think, pretty confidently say that I think one of the flaws that MHA ends up having is that it doesn't go into like full comic ridiculousness territory as it could.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does still try to take itself seriously to a degree that comics tend to not.
Yeah.
No, I can assure you that people within the comics absolutely do. Like the characters themselves, these situations are still completed with 100% seriousness. If I try to explain it, it's going to sound ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Because a
kind
lot of
the
the
point
words
comics,
are
though.
ridiculous, and it is inherently a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like the context is still 100% serious, and I do feel like that's possibly something that Horikoshi is missing a little bit. Because from my understanding, MHA is taking a lot of comic inspiration
Yes. I think.
in the things that it's doing.
Yeah, I mean, My Hero is very obviously comic inspired, predominantly comic inspired versus like any Japanese media inspired.
Yeah.
It's I'd say the truest form of Japanese comics.
Yeah.
Like in not going the full insanity mode. Uh, and I'm thinking still specifically about the powers and the kinds of things because in comics you just kind of can introduce new use cases for powers all the time, which I think he does do and ending up doing anyway. But I think a lot of it ends up going to Midoriya entirely, but obviously because he's like the main guy, and also just because of how One for All works, which is that it's like an amalgam of everyone who's ever had it before, and all the quirks that they had are in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Deku over here not contributing to the pile.
Well,
I mean, is it at All Might?
True.
I forget what most of season 2 was.
That was the
The
tournament.
first half
I
of
think.
season 2 was the sports festival.
Yeah.
The second half of season 2 was a lot better because it dealt with the, in my opinion, the best villain, the hero killer.
Ah.
Oh, that's
The one who just hunted people down in random alleyways and fucking murdered them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loved that guy. Oh. So, is there anything else about season 1 that anyone wants to talk about?
I mean, season 1 was half the length of all the other seasons, so there's not as much to talk about, especially since a lot of it is also just introductions to characters,
Yeah.
and setting the tone.
I think the ultimate point about season 1 is that it is introducing a lot of really cool things, and the flaws have not really shown up yet. So you have you have the young, hopeful eyes of a child.
Yeah, and season 2 the first half of season 2 is a tournament arc,
Yeah.
so that's automatically going to turn a lot of people away because when it comes to anime, you either love or hate tournament arcs. There's
Love
not
them,
much in between.
personally.
They're
I just think they're fun.
They're meant to be fun, but like
they're fun
in terms of
yeah.
furthering the plot, there's a bit to be desired.
Yeah. Like I agree that they're fun, but a lot of times they also follow the same sort of story beats as all of the other tournament arcs, and you're just kind of like, well,
They kind of overstay their welcome,
yeah,
especially when My Hero 1 is literally 12 episodes.
yeah, and also is for specifically the My Hero Academia one, like it's not even against like the bad guys or something. Like this isn't
a
to
friendly competition.
Yeah, and like that's fine. Like you can explore characters with that or whatever, but I just like this is not furthering the plot at all.
How would you do a tournament arc against the bad guys?
I don't know. Maybe there's a school of
Yeah, it's not really possible in this setting.
Not in this setting, no. But I just the solution was to not do one. That's the problem.
I think that the best way to because I mean the tournament arc was there for two reasons. One, it was primarily to introduce Todoroki's whole thing of being traumatized.
Yeah.
That guy's whole deal.
And two, it was also meant as a way of having Deku learn how to not blow himself up with his powers.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, it succeeded in doing both of those things. I just think that it would have benefited from focusing on one instead of both.
It also It also featured the one interesting fight I remember with the gravity girl. I forgot her name again. What's her name again?
Uraraka.
Rock.
You
all right.
are.
Yeah, it's you are.
Hang on, I think it's more. Hang on.
Uraraka.
You are AKA.
That's what I said.
Rocker. Gravity lady.
On this episode of Americans Try to Pronounce Japanese Words.
I'm usually okay, and it's just her specifically. It's just really hard.
It's a combination of sounds that is not at all common in the English language.
From my understanding, the name came originally from the pun, because I'm pretty sure most of the hero names that the characters end up with are puns.
Yeah.
And like Uraraka is based on they obviously has to do with gravity.
Yeah.
And like her hero name, and when translated to English, is literally Uravity.
Gravity.
Yeah, if you want me to remember any of the hero names,
that's the only one that I can actively recall.
Yeah, I only
Yes, I
remembered it
remember the
after you started talking about it. I'm not gonna remember any of the others.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
I don't really focus on them, so.
Yeah, I think they had like one sequence where they all just walked up to the front of the class with a huge piece of paper with it written on there, and then that was it. That's as far as they got with that. At least as much as I watched.
Like in the My Hero versus box, I think that like the hero names are essentially exist for like, you know, tax reasons, I guess, publicity reasons. It's like a celebrity name.
Yeah.
So the story does not hold a lot of focus on them, and that's a larger criticism of the story writing that I'll talk about in like 30 minutes or something.
Okay.
One thing that I do think My Hero does better than a lot of other similar anime is that unlike a lot of high school themed anime, I don't think My Hero would benefit. I don't think My Hero is one of those anime that is in a high school setting that belongs in a college setting. I think it actually works better in a high school setting with how it's
I do actually agree with that.
Yeah.
For once.
just with how it's character development pans out, because
I feel like it's very
most of the character development is very high school oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it is one of the few shows where it's like this would not benefit from moving it to a college setting. It would get worse, actually.
Yeah. It'd be like you'd make them college kids, and you'd be like, "How have you not figured this out by now?"
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing. Like, it's in most shows where it benefits moving it from high school to college. It's because the characters in it behave like college students, and it's just set in a high school because of
of the target audience.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
Which
Teenagers do kind of end up being monarchs of the internet because they have nothing else to do.
yeah, they have all the free time. We know you're watching.
Looking at you.
Looking at you.
Yeah, we're looking at you, all of teenage kind.
Yeah, I do think that the characters in MHAs at least behave close enough to actual teenagers that it would be kind of weird to put it into a college setting.
Yeah. Yeah, they
For the most part, it
And
is.
also a lot of My Hero is at least the early setting is focused on like learning more about not themselves but their powers and how to
Mhm.
apply them, and that doesn't really self-discovery is not a college thing.
no.
At least not something that happens in the college itself.
Self-mental harm in order to get through the system, though.
Well, that happens at all.
Especially college.
Yeah, but that's a theme in later My Hero.
Yeah, that comes. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I do like the tournament arc, but I'm biased because I like tournament arcs.
Yeah.
I also like tournament arcs, but I think that it would have benefited from being more streamlined, or being more focused on one of the things it was trying to do.
That is true. I do think it would have benefited a lot if it focused, at least if it was going to do both on like one at a time, right? Instead of switching between Todoroki's harrowing past and Deku trying to figure out how to not break his arm and instead break his fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to Gravity Lady, and and what's the exploding boy?
Yeah, and
yeah, them just having a straight up fight, no character development. Just duking it out. That's my favorite one.
It's my favorite one because I really did not like Bakugo for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you did end up liking Bakugo before a certain point, you were considered crazy, and rightfully so.
Yeah, because you were crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also another bit of where the cracks in My Hero start to form is. But once again, it tries to focus on a whole lot of characters when we've got a main character.
Yeah. And it tries
already
to do
going
that
through some shit.
on top of a tournament arc.
Yeah, the tournament arc that already primarily focused on two characters, Todoroki and Deku,
Yeah.
suddenly tried to have interspersed character development of the entire fucking class.
And then some.
Including some characters that aren't in that class.
Yeah,
and they're in
wasn't there that
other
one?
class.
It was a total of like 25 characters
Yeah.
that got small but noticeable character development, and a lot of fights focused on characters that do not become important, either are not important at all or do not become important for a long fucking time.
Or
Yeah.
briefly important and then become unimportant again. Gotta
Yeah.
say, one of my favorite characters that gets introduced, I think he's introduced in the tournament thing, I don't remember if he is or isn't. At least he gets focus here, is the guy with the speech ability, where you answer one of his questions,
Oh, and he
and
mind
then you
controls
can
you?
control what you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
And I
that
think
guy
that
was fun.
it's like a really interesting thing of like some of the themes of My Hero in Microcosm. Some of the themes that don't get explored as much as I should. Of like how, because his ability is not like big and flashy, people didn't see the like potential it has to help a lot, because it is entirely a thing that he wants to use for non-violent de-escalation, but
Yeah.
because it is not a big flashy skill, it's not a big flashy quirk, people don't recognize that.
Well, isn't
Well, that and the fact that it is mind control, so people are immediately going to
Sure, yeah, I
assume
guess,
it's-
but he doesn't have ill intentions. I trust him.
yeah, well, yeah, that was another point with him, was that like a lot of people just assumed, oh, he's gonna be a villain entirely based on what his quirk did, and nothing else.
Despite his continued stated intentions.
Yeah, which, you know, the fact that we know all this about this character, that to my knowledge doesn't really show up again. And
not until season 5.
yeah, like I just
He
like
joins the class in season 5.
yeah, it's just like okay, this character's cool. He's like I like him. He's great and all, but if
But
you're
he's
not
gone for
yeah, if
a
you're
long fucking time.
if you're not gonna use him for like the rest of the season, at least the next season, why are you explaining this to me right now?
Yeah, this is one of the moments where it's like the Horikoshi would have, I think, really benefited from establishing it as an ensemble cast from the get-go,
Yeah.
if that
Yes.
was always his intention.
Especially because he does also implement a lot of like long-term, a lot of long-term planning
hmm
very early on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Yeah, like he's not
and
flying
then-
by the seat of his pants here.
And then, well, okay, I would not say
Not
he's
fully
not,
by the seat of his pants.
because for a while it seems like a lot of things that he had initially implemented that were obviously meant to be long-term, he forgot about, and then they go over it in the anime. Because the anime is coming out, so I like to think that he's watching the anime and is like, "Oh shit, I forgot I put that in," and then immediately the next chapter re-implements that thing. That was going on for a while. It was very funny.
Oh, I forgot about that. Just put it back in. Everything will be fine.
No one will notice.
No one will know. No one will know.
I know.
We know. Anyone who watches this now knows.
Yeah, we've unveiled his dark secret. That was totally not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is admittedly a bit harder to identify if you're not watching it as it's being released.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of long-term planning.
Yeah.
I think overall it was just advertised as it was advertised as the wrong type of show initially, and it's too late to it's too late to backslide.
Yeah, you can't undo that. What like the second half of season 2, the hero killer arc.
That one was actually just pretty good, all things considered. It focused.
That's also how I remember it.
It didn't focus as heavily on Deku, which was the first arc of its kind.
Wow.
Where it was more focused on Ida, Speed Boy.
Oh right, it's not Lita, it's Ida. I keep misreading the capital I as a lowercase l for some fucking reason. Oh, I forgot. Like I'm in my head remembering how I had read his name previously in discussion posts because that's what I am.
But yeah, it's really funny. I think that second half of that season was one of the things my brain blanked on because of drugs. Because
Fair
I
enough.
don't remember it at all.
It focuses mostly on Ida and how his older brother was attacked by the hero killer and
Oh.
hospitalized, not killed, because this early on in My Hero, Horikoshi didn't want to kill our characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still relatively lighthearted.
Mm.
Yeah, comparatively, sure.
Comparatively.
At least compared to more recent seasons, that is definitely the case. But yeah, it centers on Ida and his desire for revenge, and like whether or not that desire for revenge consumes him.
A classic.
Yeah. That's another problem I think that My Hero has, is it burns through a lot of the classic tropes very early on.
There are classics for a reason, so I suppose it would have been nice to have them last a little bit longer. If I remember right, with the hero killer, his name is Stain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I recall correctly, his thing about murdering heroes is more so that none of them are like
None of them
actual
are
definition heroes.
ambiguous, basically. They're either like intending to be celebrities, or they have ulterior motives for being heroes, which is why he's killing them.
Yeah. Which is why and again, if I remember correctly, he fights with Deku and also spares him
Yes.
because he's pure of heart, smart of ass.
Yes. And that exchange is ultimately what prevents Ida from turning himself into a murderer.
Yeah.
Don't do murder, kids.
Do murder, kids.
No.
Yeah, Stannis, I think, is a very interesting character. And again, if I'm remembering correctly, this is the last big time in the show that what I thought was going to be a much more major theme is touched on, which is that in hero society, ironically, not a whole lot of actual heroing happens.
Yeah. A whole lot of
At least not without
celebrity-
ulterior motives.
celebrity-
Yeah, now people aren't in it for the quote unquote right reasons, and there's kind of a philosophical divide where does it matter that you're not doing it for the right reasons if you're still doing the right thing at the end of the day? And I don't think that's a question that gets interrogated enough in the series, because I don't think it gets brought up much more, if memory serves.
Not as far as you guys watched.
Again,
long-term planning things.
I'm noticing a pattern of the long-term planning being bring it up once, don't bring it up for a couple seasons, suddenly it's back.
Yeah.
Which, not the best way to do that.
It's not the best execution of long-term planning.
No.
But that was the intent of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just when you bring up a topic and then you don't talk about it in the next season, I don't care if you bring it up 2 seasons after that. I'm just gonna be like, well, you just kind of dropped that, man.
Yeah.
You had me interested, and now it's gone. Where did it go? It's like writing the first 2 body paragraphs of your essay and then coming back 2 years later with the third one.
Don't worry, guys. I finally finished my essay.
Yeah.
One of the great things about doing internet things is I don't think I even have to ask for people to correct us if we're wrong, because they're going to anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the My Hero fandom.
I have a sneaking suspicion they aren't gonna like the video that's titled "My Hero Academia." Why is this so boring?
Why is it so boring?
Yeah, but it's titles like that driving.
Perfect. They do drive engagement. Hatred will always
Hate
drive
watching.
more engagement.
I bet they're stupid and they say stupid things about the show.
Well, we probably did.
I'm gonna watch the entire video multiple times to make sure.
Thank you.
You should do that. You
Yeah.
should totally do that. You should do that, right?
You should spend 7 hours of your life rewatching.
We said something really dumb 10 minutes ago, so once you're done watching the video, you should restart and watch it again. See if you can find the stupid thing we said.
Go back to the beginning and take notes.
Take notes.
Yeah. So that's basically what happens in season 2, with the exception of at the very end of season 2, the Nomu arrive in packs.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh shit.
And they're swiftly taken care of, but it's a thing that will once again come up later.
Wasn't that a thing? There were certain moves that I don't know if it was Deku or All Might or both of them, but they had special moves that were based on American city names.
Yeah, because All Might was supposed to be the Superman equivalent and the much more American than Superman. Don't answer that.
All I remember, the only reason I remember this is because there's one specific one. It's just I remember being used a lot, which is Detroit Smash.
Yeah, his most famous move.
Yeah.
Detroit becomes Smash.
So yeah, that's season 2.
Oh.
And I honestly forgot what happens in the first half of season 3.
Isn't it they go to summer camp or something?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It is.
No wonder I forgot that.
Yeah, they go to summer camp, and
despite being initially just a summer camp arc that initially served zero fucking purpose to further the plot, it does become a fairly important arc because it's the first time they are actively assaulted by the League of Villains since season 1.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time that the League of Villains is an active threat because they just kidnap children.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They kidnap Explodey Boy.
Yes.
Bakugo. Okay, yeah, they kidnap Bakugo. I'm trying.
Look, you could also just call him Captain Boom.
Okay, I'll call him that. I like that. Captain Boom.
It's also the first time an arc has directly led into the next one. Because the first half of the summer camp arc is just another training montage. The second half is the forest is on fire and we're being hunted.
Who's ready to have fun time at summer camp? Screaming children in the forest.
It's literally just Sons of the Forest.
Yeah.
With superpowers.
Becomes a slasher movie.
It really does for a bit.
Friday the 13th, but if the not Jason characters had fucking quirks. But anyway, yeah, running through the woods.
There's not much to talk about
in the woods
with that arc aside from it's also pretty good.
Yeah.
After the training montage stuff is done.
Yeah.
The training arcs in My Hero are pretty barren in terms of actual development that happens.
Yeah.
It's inheriting some weird stuff from the Battle Shonen formula, that it does not quite seem fully ready to contend with.
Yeah.
One of them is training montages, training arcs. Happen
Yeah,
all the
training
time.
arcs don't really need to happen that often, especially in My Hero. Well, okay, I guess they do need to happen in My Hero for Deku alone.
Yeah.
Everybody else is fairly competent with their own powers, but since he's got his less than a year ago, he's kind of still learning.
Yeah. And another thing is that a lot of times with training arcs and other shows is that like the reason they're doing the training arc is because they just got their ass whooped by the villain.
Yeah.
and it's
the
like
epitomal battle shonen is of course Dragon Ball,
yeah.
and every Dragon Ball arc starts with Goku losing.
Yeah. And then working on his skills.
Working on a new way to grow his hair even longer and maybe dye it a different color.
Yeah, and then he comes
No.
back
It
with
did not
so
start
much
like that.
style.
But yes, it does kind of become that.
And then he comes back with so much style that it just blows in. But back to my point. Yeah, so usually with training arcs, there's like a villain that is an immediate threat that they're having to deal with. And a lot of times in My Hero Academia, it's like they're not training. Yeah, they're not training to
training
stop
for the
a
sake
villain.
of training.
There's training because they're in a school that trains them, and it's like that makes sense, but for like a story,
it gets very tired very fast.
Yeah, it's just like I get it. You're training in a school, please. You're training in a school, or you're training at a camp, and
but yeah, it goes training arc, which is I think the shortest training arc in the show, to be honest, because it only lasts like 3 episodes before something worse happens.
The getting kidnapped bits that I think I remember, which is like as we briefly have mentioned, Bakugo gets kidnapped.
Oh no!
And gotta go get his ass because he can't get out right now.
Gotta get him.
And I think I remember when that happened, some people in fandom expected him to have what was being referred to as his Sasuke moment. Now, for the uninitiated,
no, he does not get character development after this. It takes another season.
Well, that's not the Sasuke moment people were referring to, but that's good to know. In Naruto, Sasuke, Naruto's rival, briefly goes evil for a bit. People were expecting that to happen to Bakugo, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
He's still an unrepentant asshole, apparently, for a bit after, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing about Bakugo that is actually interesting that I do want to talk about for a little bit, is that despite being an asshole, he is like genuinely one of the only people in the school alongside Deku who genuinely wants to be a hero for being a hero's sake.
Yeah.
Which does not at all come across because he's, as previously stated, an unrepentant asshole for the first 4.5 seasons.
Yeah, well, normally if they were going to go like the Sasuke route, like they drop subtle hints or like phrases that Bakugo would say that would be like, oh, he could turn, but it's like every time I saw Bakugo on the screen, I'm like, yeah, he's an asshole, but he's not. Like, he doesn't want to be a villain. He's just an asshole. He clearly wants to be a hero.
You could very easily read him being an asshole as shorthand for him becoming a bad guy, which is what some people did.
See, there's assholes.
Well, the show did also like that being a possibility during the arc specifically.
I do recall characters pointing out that he behaves more like a villain and like his costume is more villainy and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the characters can say that, and then I look at his costume and I'm like, his looks pretty much the same as everyone else's. Weird.
I mean, the guy with the crow's head and an evil shadow also looks kind of villainy, but I don't remember anyone bringing that up.
Exactly. Like,
Well, yeah, but that's because no one brings him up for a while.
like that's it. Like, there's. It's one thing for the characters to say things. It's an entirely different thing to convey those things. And for the life of me, I don't see it.
Todoroki looks like he's always on the verge of killing somebody.
Yeah, but that somebody's usually his dad.
Yeah, but he's not good at directing that towards him for a while.
Yeah, so it just directs it at
Yeah.
some.
In case you guys couldn't tell, the phrase "for a while" will be used very heavily here.
Oh.
But yeah, no, Bakugo gets kidnapped. Then the rest of the class, and by the rest of the class I mean, let's see, it's Deku, Ida, and like 3 others. I don't remember their names.
The boys, the lads.
They mount a 5-man raid to get Bakugo back. Because the official police raid is not happening fast enough.
Do it faster.
I love vigilantism. Although is it technically vigilantism if this is within what their jobs will be one day?
I mean, if they're not licensed, I don't think it's legal.
Because they're students.
Yeah.
Do they have like a student's license? I don't remember.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
No, they don't. Doesn't All Might fucking end up saving the day for the lastest time and then retire?
Yeah, he uses the last of his power to have a really cool fight.
Yeah.
And then he retires.
Mm-hmm.
But that's at the end of the season.
Okay.
Well, I guess that really is the only thing that happens after the raid.
Yeah. And after the raid, the season ends. Yeah. You know.
Deku and friends raid the League of Villains. They free Bakugo, and are all immediately in. They're all in immediate danger of just fucking dying. So All Might comes to save them.
Dad, I went on the wrong side of town. I need you to pick me up.
Yeah.
Dad, I tried to fight the literal devil.
But that's also when All for One is introduced.
Yeah, the literal devil.
Yeah.
And then I'm
I'm
thinking about it now, and I may have gotten the order of events mixed up.
Hmm?
I know they get provisional licenses to do, what is effectively vigilante work. But that really doesn't matter. It doesn't further the plot all that much.
Nah. It just makes
at
it
all.
so they don't get arrested.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it happens. It matters that it does happen, which is why they haven't been arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I want a jail arc.
That's coming. Hold your horses. We got a while to go.
Oh my god. See, okay. For the consumers of this content, to my knowledge, me and Cole, I've only watched 3 seasons, right?
I've watched 3 seasons and then I've seen a lot of people talk about the rest of them.
Okay, yeah. I only have the 3 seasons. So after the end of season 3 there, I got nothing.
Well, I'm gonna do what Cole did for the Adventure Time one now and give the synopsis of everything past season 3.
Oh dear
We
God.
don't have a subtopic this time, so we can
Can-
just pure unadulterated
Can
synopsis.
can I talk about something
Yes.
involving the show before we get into the synopsis? The costumes in the show.
They're kind of weird.
Yeah. Like,
Dare I say stupid?
mayhaps a little sexist.
What?
Only a
How could that? Sorry. Okay.
You know, I would be less weirded out by it if these weren't children. Because they are all teenagers, like.
Yeah. And that's the one aspect that would benefit from switching this to a college anime.
It is.
Is the
like
over sexualization of like everyone in anime that happens. That's unavoidable. It's particularly prevalent in My Hero. And Horikoshi came under fire several times because of it.
As he should.
Yeah, like, and like, you know, I remember like when they had the costumes like introduced, they were like, oh, the students designed their own costumes, and I'm looking at some of those costumes and I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, I don't remember her name, but the girl that could like materialize stuff out of her body, right?
Yeah.
She had like the most skimpy outfit. And I'm like, you did not willingly design that and then put it on and go, this is a good idea to wear in combat. I refuse to believe that.
I have to amend your statement a little bit. It's not the most skimpy outfit. There is a lot of thigh and cleavage, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. You want to talk the skimpiest outfit in My Hero Academia? Let's talk about Invisible Girl. Literally just wearing gloves. Nothing else.
If they could synthesize, I've seen so many people say this, and I agree with all of them. For that guy who's introduced later, whose quirk has to do with his hair, and if they could make a special material using his hair that allows him to use his quirk effectively, why could they not do that for the Invisible Girl?
Or, you know, the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the rest of the cast. It's just the primary example of, like, how could they not make some kind of chameleon suit for her?
Yeah, like, yeah, and then in terms of, like, all of the other girls' costumes, like, they're not as bad, but they're all still skin tight as hell. And I'm just like...
That's unfortunately just, like, a trapping of superhero media.
Yeah.
Where, like... I mean, I feel like the thing that makes it passable in superhero media is the fact that, like, it's just not sexual for particularly the younger characters.
Yeah.
Because there are younger characters in comics who have costumes, and oftentimes those costumes are still spandex.
Yeah.
But it's not sexy because they're 10.
Yeah.
It's like
it also
if you have a kid and you go to their gymnastics meet, they're just in a leotard.
Yeah. It also, like, I'd say kind of helps in, like, Western comics that, like, everyone's wearing tight spandex.
That is true. Everyone is in spandex.
Yeah, like, it's like yeah, Wonder Woman's wearing, like, spandex skimpy swimsuit thing, but Superman is all skin tight. No detail is left out. You know,
well, they don't.
They
do leave details out, but that's because
one very important one is left out for obvious reasons.
For the same reasons that they do in real world leotard.
Yeah.
When a guy wears a leotard, they have a special piece of equipment to make sure that something does not show.
Yes. but yeah, so like in Western comics such as those, like that kind of helps because at least it's like even. My Hero Academia, it's like they're all either shirtless, wearing a jumpsuit, like skin tight, or basically nothing.
Is or literally nothing.
They're literally nothing.
There is a lot more costume variance, I suppose, in terms of like in terms of that, and that does not help it. I never really thought about that in that specifically before. How like in Western superhero comics, literally everybody's in spandex, which makes it not weird
Yeah.
when another character is in spandex.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I don't know. The costumes in My Hero Academia always bothered me ever since they were introduced. I just you know, like
Yeah, I do remember the people who still exist who try to justify it by saying that like the character design their costumes, but it's like okay, in universe maybe that is true in universe, but also like you have to understand that this is a piece of media that like someone has actively drawn and written, and that is the person actually making the decisions, and that is who is being criticized here.
And even if we go like into the universe, do they not have like rules for this shit? It's like okay,
evidently not.
like it's like okay, we're having a bunch of underage teenagers design costumes. We should have people who are like, let's not put you in that. Or at least like maybe a team of like people who can be like, this is not practical. You're gonna get fucking shot.
I think it might be one of the slightly undercooked themings around, cause half the theming around the hero stuff in My Hero is like celebrity culture, right? So it might be one of the slightly undercooked things relating to that, where the supposed intent, or an intent that you can read into it, is a criticism of how like a lot of big entertainment media will actively at least entertain the sexualization of young girls. You know, because apparently that's popular.
It's weird. It's weird, man.
I don't make the social rules.
I know you don't.
I just know
don't
a
even
lot.
abide by them. I just know they exist.
Yeah.
It's like studying an insect terrarium for me. It's like, oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it. As someone who's bisexual, I hate it. I may be attracted to the two gender, but like I don't want this. Put it back.
Yeah, from what I know of media, there is a lot of active sexualization of girls and women that happen, and so it could be a sort of half-baked critique of that. I don't think it is, though. I feel like it's being too generous.
Yeah. Well, especially considering like it's never really brought up as an issue.
It is brought up. It is brought up once.
Once.
Immediately when they get their costumes. I believe it is Uraku who specifically says, "Yeah, I didn't draw this as being like spandex, but they gave it to me as spandex anyway."
Yeah. I guess, but
And I don't think it's ever commented on again, and she never gets like a costume redesign that addresses that.
yeah, like if hun, if you got an issue with it, talk to the people who made it. Like, hey, that's not what I drew. Fix it. Don't just be like, I guess I'm gonna wear this forever now.
Oh, I suppose these are my clothes
Yep.
until I die,
Until I die.
which is very likely,
Yeah.
with no padding on this whatsoever.
Who needs safety when you're a superhero?
Yeah. Practicality? Psh,
It
nah.
is actually
If your powers aren't more than enough to keep you alive under every circumstance, you're not a good enough superhero.
Yeah, you
It
get
is
good.
actually kind of, thinking about it more, it is kind of weird to me, the line between like real and fantastical that my hero rides on, because like Deku breaks his arm enough that he needs forget what it's called, but he needs a compressor. He needs
Yeah.
like an athletics compressor on his arm because he's broken it so many times that even the nurse is like healing or he can't restore it to 100% functionality.
Yeah.
But like everyone still takes the giant anime injuries all the time and lives mostly.
You can only take so many giant anime injuries. In the one area. Clearly that's the logic here. Yeah. Is
So what's season 4 like?
yeah.
Season
What's the part
4.
that I haven't directly seen?
I was holding off on giving the synopsis because once I start, I will not stop. So I was waiting for you guys to get your conversations over with.
I think I've gotten my complaining about the costumes out of the way. I think I'm good.
I have
All right.
information, but I can wait.
Season 4 is mostly I'm gonna be absolutely lit the fuck up, assuming I ever get attention from this at all. Season 4 is almost entirely filler.
Mm.
Not that it's not in the manga, but
if more than
it
10
does not
people see
serve
this,
it does not serve to further the plot at all, with the exception of introducing the child. The first half of season 4 is the literal yakuza developing a drug to remove quirks from people. It permanently destroys their genetic disposition for quirks.
that's a crazy fucking drug.
Yeah. What the
Yeah.
hell? It's just power.
And they've done it by harvesting the blood of this little girl whose quirk is the control of time.
Okay, so does the drug work by reversing your genes to before like 50 years ago or whatever?
Yes.
Does it give you that like weird little toe joint that Deku has?
They don't go into that specifically, but maybe.
What's happening to my quirk? Why does my toe feel weird?
Why do my shoes not fit quite right anymore?
But yeah, no, that's season 4. Is rescuing the child and also dismantling the entire fucking yakuza.
I've seen fan comics that involve the child
I've seen none of
in like
this.
in a fun manner where she's taken care of.
Ah.
Yeah, that's the fandom's biggest wish, is to have Eri be taken care of in a non-broken home. And the reason she was even in the care of, I say care very sparingly, in the care of the Yakuza in the first place is because she accidentally rewound her parents to the primordial soup.
What?
Oh.
So she's crazy powerful.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a horn on her head that grows the longer she goes without using her powers. The longer she goes without using her powers, the powerful they become. So once she's rescued and taken care of, it's a looming threat that, yeah, the horn keeps growing. We don't know when she's going to be able to gain control of her powers, she's kind of a fucking time bomb.
Can you just like have her like rewind an acorn or something
She
every
can't
now and again?
she can't actively control her powers. So if she tries to use them at all, there could be devastating consequences.
That's really bad.
Are they at least like touch based and not ranged?
It's touch based.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
It's not
And then
like
the whole
you
world
look at
went
something
into
and they
caveman mode.
look at someone long enough, they physically regress back into the soup.
Back into the soup.
Yeah, but so off screen for the next while, she's being trained in how to, not do that to people.
Here's how we don't turn our parents into soup.
Turn more people's parents into soup. Some of them deserve it. Turn Todoroki's dad into soup.
He gets better, to the point of being, one of my favorite characters, but that's later.
That's impressive.
I know, right?
I'm intrigued.
If there's one thing my hero does very well across the board, it's giving characters who are being focused on in that arc actual character development.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the first half of season 4 is dismantling the Yakuza. The second half of season 4 is actually just filler. Again, it happens in the manga, but it does not further the plot at all. Best part about it is the Harper guy.
Does it further the characterization?
It's school festival.
So it could, but it doesn't sound like it does.
Yeah. The best part about it is when the best villain in the show, the fucking streamer villain, comes along.
Streamer villain?
Yeah. As in, like, he's only a villain because he wants to be famous, because his power has been made fun of so fucking much that he's like, fine, I'll show you what it can really do. And he just makes YouTube videos of him committing crimes and getting away with it.
Wow.
And you may think, oh, like, early 20s. No, he's like 50.
Oh.
He's an old-ass man.
50?
Yeah. His quirk is also just a fun quirk. It elasticizes anything he touches, including the air. He can make trampolines out of the air.
Oh! That's amazing.
And it is actually one of the... I'm not saying that, season 4 is bad because it feels like filler. It just feels like filler. It's good filler. It is still filler.
Okay.
Man, I love eating this baker's dozen of donuts. Still isn't a meal, but they taste good.
There's a little bit of character development happening passively just throughout the show. That's just what happens in My Hero. But in terms of what actually happens furthering the plot, there's not much of it.
It really does seem like, because the first half is fighting the Yakuza, and then the second half is something entirely different. And then before then was like dealing with like the League of Villains again. It really feels like we're rapidly rubber banding between scopes and in terms of how serious the threat is. There's not like a continued sense of escalation. It just is different every time.
Yes,
it's something completely different.
It is very different every arc. Like every time the arc changes, the tone changes drastically. That slows down a bit when the show starts to get more serious.
It takes 4 seasons?
I didn't say we were done. I didn't say we were done rubber banding.
Oh no.
But season 5, because that was all season 4. Season 5 is when Todoroki's dad becomes a pretty cool dude.
Okay, how is this accomplished?
He turns himself from a deadbeat dad into an undeadbeat dad. That's not to say that he dies. That's just, you know.
He's undead.
Oh.
Um,
How does he do that? What does he do?
It starts. Season 5 starts with. I'm trying to find a synopsis because I don't remember it particularly well. I don't want to. I don't want to fuck up my recollection.
Don't fuck it up.
I don't want individual episode synopses.
Yes, you do. It's what everyone wants. Everyone wants
Yeah.
individual episode synopses.
Go episode by episode. We'll make this 6 hours long.
Oh, okay, I was wrong. Season 4 does have one thing at the very end that
4 hours
does have a bit of a heft to it in terms of being important. Todoroki's dad is attacked by the first heavily modified Nomu. One that has A, full mental faculties, and B, multiple different quirks.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh no.
And since All Might retired, he's the #1 hero. So the assassination attempt on him is kind of important. Seeing as he barely managed to fend it off.
I'd say that's pretty important, yeah.
But awareness of his own mortality drives his character growth into being less of a shitty father.
Son, I realized something. I can die.
I'm gonna die.
Let's go play football in the backyard.
So yeah, season 5 starts off with the aftermath of that fight. And then immediately cuts to another training arc. Because of course it does.
Pain.
This one actually consists of substance though, because Deku gets a new power.
Ooh.
The first of a few, several.
Oh.
Yeah, he gets a lot.
Oh.
It's a lot now, doesn't he?
Because there are 8 or 9 previous One for All holders, some of which had their own quirks. They're all locked inside his quirk, and will emerge when the plot demands it.
Isn't this also the point in time, or at least around in this season? Sometime doesn't he learn how to spread the power somewhat evenly throughout his body instead of focusing all of it into a bone to shatter?
Oh, he did that back in season 2, but
Oh.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
It's just, he keeps running into villains that demand that he focus all of his power into a single arm-shattering punch.
I see.
So he continues arm-shattering. It's around this point in time that he starts to not need to do that. He's gotten to the point where he can handle enough of One for All to not break his arms and still fight villains.
I swear I don't have an addiction to breaking all of my limbs. The fight demands!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you don't believe me.
Yeah, no, I totally believe you. Totally. 100%.
Real quick, you want to talk about sexualizing underage characters in media in general? Deku absolutely has a pain kink that is just never brought up. That's all I have to say about that. So after Todoroki's dad is almost killed, we disregard that entirely and go to season 5. It starts with training arc, which is just class 1A and 1B fighting each other in a bunch of mock battles. And during this training arc, faffing about, Deku's quirk goes a little out of control, and he gains the ability to become Spider-Man. Really, he gets Spider-Man web fluid, basically. Except he can also manipulate it. He gets grabby hands.
He gets the grabbies.
Oh.
He gets the grabbies.
I was wondering when that happened.
That's the only thing of note. Aside from the fact that the mind control guy also joins the class.
Yay!
Hey!
Fucking
That's it.
Finally.
That's all.
That's all that happens. The entire season.
That's the first half of the season.
Oh, okay.
But it's a long arc because, it's everyone in each class doing mock battles, and since there are fucking 20 characters per class, all of which are named, all of which get, equal screen time, it takes for fucking ever.
Oh, no.
Is it Tournament Arc Part 2?
Yeah, but
For
longer.
real this time? Tournament harder.
Harder.
Yeah, it's like Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Yes.
Tournament Arc 2, Tournament Darker.
But after the second tournament arc, we get into less of a. Each season so far has been 2 major arcs. Season 5 is one that starts to deviate a bit. We get 1 major arc in the first half, and then 2 smaller arcs that are somehow better than most of the previous ones.
Wow.
One of them being Endeavor's Todoroki's dad's superhero name. Todoroki's dad's redemption arc beginning, where Bakugo, Todoroki, and Deku all become unpaid interns at his agency. And they help him fight crime.
That's fun.
Other
than the unpaid part.
And then they deal with a hostage situation where Todoroki's brother gets kidnapped by one of Endeavor's quote-unquote rivals. Not that he fucking remembers them.
You don't remember me, eh? What if I do this? Yoink.
But this arc mostly serves as a way for Todoroki's dad to start trying to mend relations with the rest of his family, and the rest of his family does not fucking want to reciprocate. I wonder why.
Oh, gee.
I wouldn't either.
Oh my gosh, gee, I wonder why you wouldn't want to do this. Can we all get along now? No.
Yeah, the effort to become a better dad is there, and he does put forth the effort, but obviously, these things take time
Yeah.
in the best of situations.
which, you know, I appreciate the show for making it take time, because I've seen enough character arcs where
Where
it's
it
just
just
like,
happens instantly and makes no sense and feels really
yeah.
off.
One of the few moments we're glad the show takes a while to do anything.
Yeah. And then after that whole arc is the best arc in the entire show, bar none,
Oh, okay.
called My Villain Academia, where it has nothing to do with any of the heroes. The POV is entirely on the League of Villains,
Oh my gosh, what?
and it's fantastic
That,
because they take down their own Yakuza group.
oh my god. That's amazing. I legit love that.
Oh yeah, this also that's also the same arc that introduces Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz.
What?
What?
Let me-
Excuse me.
Let me pull up.
Are you getting an image?
Yes, I'm getting an image.
You can't show that.
No, I can send it to you guys, and people who have seen it will just have to Google Redestro from My Hero Academia.
I'll do that thing podcasts do where they describe the image.
It really is just Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz.
What the fuck?
Badass!
It's Heinz Doofenshmirtz, but buff.
I know!
For
With pointy ears.
for our viewers out there, what Peter has just sent us is an image of what appears to be Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz, who is buff as fuck with elf ears, and
Pointy
he's
mosquito nose.
yeah, and he's bleeding a little bit at the lip. Yeah, no, that's
But yeah, that's the Mafia boss that the League of Villains takes out.
is the name of the mafia Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
Unfortunately, no.
God damn it.
Fairly certain that was copyrighted.
Just do it anyway. Disney won't kill you with their lawyers, I promise. It won't happen. They definitely have never done that before.
I literally looked up Redestro, which is his villain name, and the first thing that Google suggests is Redestro based on Doofenshmirtz?
That's amazing.
But the entire My Villain Academia arc focuses on not the character development of the villains, no, the power development of the villains, because they just keep getting stronger.
Oh, hooray!
Like how the main villain, Shigaraki, the one who can touch things and just fucking disintegrate them.
Oh,
Hand guy.
hand guy.
Hand guy. With really chapped lips.
Yeah, he needs some hygiene.
Bro, get some chapstick.
He gains the ability to telekinetically disintegrate things now.
Like, fucking excuse me, what? How do you combat that? I'm sorry?
He no longer needs to touch you to kill you. He just needs to point at you and you die.
I think the way that you combat that is you kill him first.
Yeah, but
Snipe
really,
around
like
to
the powers,
head.
the powers get absolutely fucking ridiculous. And so naturally, Deku also needs to gain absolutely ridiculous powers to combat that.
Power creep.
Yeah, power creep indeed.
Mm.
I'm gonna go through all the League of Villains members that are important and also still alive,
Uh-huh.
or at least not kidnapped. Shigaraki has his powers amplified. Toga, who is the one who can drink someone's blood and turn it into them visibly. Gains the ability to also copy their quirk when she's doing that.
I know the fandom really likes to ship Toga and Uraraka. That's all I know.
Because Toga's horny for everyone, but she is especially horny for Deku and Uraraka.
What?
Good for her. At least she's the same age as them.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, it's the only saving grace. I guess.
That's the only saving grace to that. Otherwise, why, what the hell? Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
Twice, who is my personal favorite of the group, is his ability is the ability to clone himself. That's it. But he's also gone fucking insane.
Mm.
So he doesn't know if he's the original at this point. So he tries to avoid using his powers as often as possible. So really, he's just a normal dude a lot of the time. With not quite split personality disorder, but the voices fight for control. He doesn't really have power enhancement so much as he uses his powers to create a fucking mountain of himself, and then he dies.
Oh.
Aw.
And then Dobby, fire guy, but evil. Also happens to be one of Endeavor's many sons.
He has too many kids.
Yeah, because he was trying to create the perfect child.
Yeah, I know why. Doesn't change the fact that he has too many kids.
How many?
Yeah,
How many
especially.
does
Like
7, I want to
Oh my
say.
god.
I don't think it's. No, I think it is actually 7.
Yes.
It's at least 5.
It's at least 5.
And according to him, all of the ones before Todoroki are failures because they couldn't use both fire and ice. They only got one or the other.
And isn't Dobby's deal that he's got like a really good fire?
Yeah, like stupid good fire. He also does not get a power enhancement because he doesn't fucking need it, because he could probably burn the earth to cinders if he wanted. The only problem is that he's not immune to his own fire, which is why he's all burnt up.
Mm.
But, who cares about that?
Yeah.
He likes the pain.
A
Uh,
lot of pain kinks I'm noticing.
I mean, that's gonna happen when you're getting the shit kicked out of you. You learn to either shrug off the pain or learn to like it.
those are your options. You can either learn to be okay with the pain in an interesting manner.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure you're both speaking from purely experience in being beat up over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. As someone who is actually a superhero, trust me, bro. Anyway, that was season 5. And this is where I'm gonna go in a completely random and disjointed timeline, because I never finished season 5. I never finished watching season 5. I did read beyond it in the manga, but I do not remember the exact order of these events. I do not care about the order of these events because the order does not matter.
Okay.
Because the only thing that really ends up happening beyond My Villain Academia is Deku goes on a vigilante arc and actual war breaks out.
What? What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. Deku gains more and more powers, and the League of Villains begins their assault on heroes in general, or just, the populace in general.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, being able to disintegrate people with your fucking mind is kinda hard to combat.
Not really.
Especially when he's also been given All for One's powers of being able to steal people's quirks. So he's kind of unfucking matched.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's also very mentally unstable.
A group of plucky heroes figured out how to use a gun.
Finally, after
Yes,
all these
it
years,
did not work.
Deku has a gun.
There's more than one gun-oriented hero in My Hero.
That's why I asked.
Which I'm happy about, quite frankly.
As an American.
As an American, it's good to see representation beyond All Might.
And this just popped into my head. Wasn't there like a bunch of like American cheerleaders in the fucking season 2 tournament arc?
Maybe? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't want to remember that scene. Can we move on?
Why don't you want to remember that? What's wrong with this scene?
I don't. Okay, so if it's what I think you're thinking of, there's a bit where the little pervert guy
All right, that character.
I believe his name. I believe his official name is Sticky Little Bubblefuck.
I'll call him that, yeah. With the sticky little bubble fuck, manages to convince a lot of the girl characters to put on cheerleading uniforms for a bit. And if I recall also correctly, this is made a little bit worse in the anime somehow. If I remember in the anime, I saw someone else talking about the scene once, and I don't know if this is 100% correct. I may be spreading misinformation.
Okay.
Because I did not go then look and compare it myself, but according to this person, the skirts and shirts that they wear in the anime are actually smaller and shorter than they were in the mug.
I see.
This may be untrue
Okay.
because I did not double check.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I just found a screenshot of what I'm thinking of. Like I don't know why I just remember this, but like, they had like American cheerleaders show up and like for some reason, and also for some reason they gave them like these weird pointy noses. They just, how does this look weird?
Post another image of them that we can describe to the audience.
Okay, let me copy image, and then paste the image, and then put enter the image, and then load the image, and then there's the image.
Oh yeah, they do have weird pointy noses.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's just what Americans look like.
Yeah, totally.
Can confirm.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
What were we talking about before this?
I don't know.
Deku going on a vigilante arc because I don't remember exactly why. Because to be honest, by this point in the show, things start to blur together because they end up getting kind of boring. There's a lot I'm cutting out between his vigilante arc and the end of season 5 because a lot of it is just exposition, if that.
Oh. I hate that.
I like exposition, but I'm insane.
I'm okay with it as long as it's not a fuck ton of it all at once.
Deliver exposition to me in any form, and I will shovel it down my gullet.
Okay.
I'll still judge you for it. I'll also eat it.
It's just a lot of exposition, and the setting slowly becomes more serious and depressing.
Fun.
But if my lack of memory of how any of it comes to be is any indication, it gets kind of boring.
Okay, so it succumbs to Cerberus syndrome,
Explain.
which is
I don't know what that is.
it's when something just gets too fucking sad and it gets boring because it gets too mired in its own depression to continue to be interesting.
That's not what that is. That's not what it ends up happening to it. It gets boring in spite of being depressing, in my opinion.
Oh.
It just takes a long. It just takes a long time for anything to go anywhere. So, yeah, that's all of My Hero Academia, 100%. The full story.
Okay.
Unabridged. With
as of recording.
Yeah, as of me having stopped reading the manga like 4 years ago.
Oh jeez.
How much more could have possibly happened?
Nothing, I assure you. Nothing else happened.
Nothing. If we didn't read it, didn't happen.
Exactly.
Okay, alright. Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. There was one more thing that happened in the manga that I do want to touch on very briefly. And it's basically just female All Might.
Oh yeah, America's #1 hero gets introduced.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up.
I don't remember her name.
Female.
But
I also don't remember her name.
You could look up female All Might. There's like a 10% chance you'll find it.
You could also just find a lot of gender-bent All Might fan art.
Yeah, that's why I said 10% chance of finding it.
Yeah, that's a lot of gender bent and. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh god. Oh no. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to bring up is that she fights Shigaraki at some point.
And fucking dies?
I don't remember.
She fucking dies.
I don't remember.
No, that's just All Might's name. Okay, never mind.
I don't remember the outcome of that fight.
Okay.
If that's any indication of how boring I started finding it.
She was not the person I was thinking of. But yeah, she does basically
There
just
she is.
Woman All Might. Her name is Kathleen Bate.
That sure is American.
Kathleen Bate.
Her hero name is Star and Stripe.
Star and Stripe.
Yeah, in case you needed someone more American than All Might. Or
yeah, All Might's
several gun characters.
Yeah. And the several gun characters.
My favorite part about All Might being the American representation, My Hero, is the fact that he is nationally Japanese.
On the wiki, she is listed as being dead.
Okay, so she probably died in that fight.
Well, damn. Unfortunate.
Actually,
I remember finishing that fight. I do not remember how it ended.
Is that everything as of right now?
There's another part where they raid the League of Villains again. This time it's like a full-on raid with like everyone in the school, and also like basically every pro hero that they can afford to bring without having crime rates skyrocket.
Aren't they already skyrocketing because they have like disintegrate rain in man form?
Don't worry
also,
about it.
All Might's retired. Like, didn't that start happening when All Might retired?
No,
don't worry about it. Oh yeah, there's also the jailbreak of Alcatraz,
Like just
Oh,
just
where
full on
all the worst
Alcatraz?
villains are stored.
Just
It's not actually called Alcatraz. I think it's
okay.
called Tartarus.
Okay.
But it serves the same purpose. All of the worst villains are locked up there, and
Mm.
they have a jailbreak. Dane escapes.
Oh. Oh no.
that's nice.
And becomes the thing I have the most vivid memory of is when Stain escaped, went to find All Might just to have a heart to heart with him, and then fucked off for the rest of the story.
Just I need to talk to you for a minute. Good talk, man. Bye.
Now I'm finished recapping my hero.
Okay.
Do you think of something else again?
It's entirely possible, but I don't think I've missed anything this time.
Okay.
There's nothing important.
It's the thing that I've been itching to talk about the entire time. I didn't want to until we had covered most of what we know about the series, which
Mhm.
is what I think its great failing is as a series, and why I personally became disinterested in it. The thing is, right, is that MHA touches on a lot of like societal issues that exist both within its own world and also like ones that are analogous to real world social problems. And it seems to do not a lot with that. like at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, because I mean, there are definitely there's definitely social commentary in My Hero, but that's never the main focus of the story.
hmm I think one of the things that the success of other battle shonen that do still tackle like big giant themes has shown is that it's you can do both. You can have a animaga that is both a battle shonen where there are lots of fights happening, big spectacle, and also still have like intricate themes and shit happening at the same time, and you don't have to really split your attention between both. And the main one on my mind right now is is Chainsaw Man, uh, because every fight in Chainsaw Man is allegory.
Mm.
All of the time, every single one of them is an allegory of some kind. They all like also get like they're further a lot of the character details or further like the societal things that happen. The entire first long, the first I hesitate to call it an arc, because it is essentially the entire like first part of the entire thing is the main character is like manipulated for the entire time, and just because he wants to live a very normal life, but he's never really given an opportunity. Yada yada yada. Stuff happens. The entire thing for that entire time is about the division in his mind between wanting some degree of normalcy and the like level of fame that he gets well for being Chainsaw Man. Um, and then later the fact that he keeps running into people who want him dead because he is Chainsaw Man, but they don't care about him as a person. The division between him as a person and him as the Chainsaw guy is like a major thing that continues, and it's in every fight, and it's everything about it is allegory all the time.
Ah.
You can do both. The thing that's important to know is that most of the fights that happen in it are also serving as allegory for struggles that the main character is dealing with, or furthers relationship with the characters in some sort of way, which furthers the entire themes of the work. And so, like the point is that you can do both. You can do social commentary and have these big spectacle fights at the same time. You don't have to split focus between them in the way that Horikoshi has done. And the thing that I don't like about the way that Horikoshi has done it is you raise all these very interesting questions, all these very interesting themes, then you don't really expand on them. At least not in the work that they were introduced in, because much less known than My Hero Academia is the secondary work that exists within the same universe, which, if I recall correctly, is about a set of vigilantes doing things, and it does deal with the social themes a little more heavily. Uh, although still not quite as heavily as I would personally like, but
It does it.
it
does its
does do it
thing.
a little more. It doesn't get as much focus from Horikoshi because it's obviously not his primary work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in My Hero, a lot of the fights are just fights. Like there's no deeper meaning to them. They are just uh, they're fights because
Fight.
yeah,
Yeah. Which
they're fights. That's what heroes do. They fight.
Yeah, which is like, I can get behind that so long as you're not like there's only so much allegory you can dip into before I'm like, hey, what's the point of the fight?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's literally called My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and it's not written or arted by, or arted, fuck, or illustrated by Horikoshi. It is, it's written by one of his editors, and that's I think is probably responsible for an amount of the like difference in focus is because it's takes place in the same world. It is written by someone else. And yeah, that does exist. The kind of thing, which is what I something that I kind of wanted when I was first getting into it, uh, into the show and into the manga a little bit was the to see where that went, and it went a grand total of 0.5 places.
Yeah. It's like it's one thing to just not have the social commentary and just be straight like superhero stuff. Like that's fine. If that's what you want to do, but like when you dip your toes in there is like and then you
Then don't do anything with it.
and then you don't do anything with it, then it's just like, okay, why did you do that in the first place if you're not going to explore it? This don't make no sense.
It's not as if he like completely neglects it, because I feel like he gestures back at it every now and again. But
It's
if they
enough.
ever come back in any kind of like real swing, it's gonna be so long from now.
That it doesn't matter. That seems to be the case with a lot of that though.
There's
Just
so
like
much real social commentary you could do in this world, and he does the grand total of none of it. And it bothers me so much. There's a reason. There's a reason why I'm pretty sure one of, if not the most popular fandom AUs is one where Deku either goes full vigilante or like permanently, but not in the like weird vengeful way that he does it in the show. And or the slash and or remaining quirkless the entire time, because that is, at least in my eyes and seemingly a lot of other people's, a much more interesting concept, and also you might notice could serve as a pretty good metaphor for disability that Horikoshi seems entirely uninterested in exploring.
yeah.
Yeah, but who cares about disabilities when you could have when the kid in the wheelchair suddenly stands up? That's what My Hero Academia Season 1 is.
Here, kid, eat my hair. It'll cure your fractured spine.
Yeah, and then Seasons 2 through the rest of them are him learning how to use the wheelchair as a fucking club.
If that's interesting to you, it's and it is finished. It ended in 2022. So if you can find a place to read it,
Wait,
for
My Hero
legal.
My Hero finished already?
No, not My Hero. The Vigilante spinoff finished.
Oh, okay.
So that much is finished. It is a prequel spinoff. It does not really tie into the main story of My Hero at all. So if that is if a slightly different take on the story that seems to go a little bit further into the societal themes interests you, it is done. You can go check it out at a place where tends to be available. Anywhere that manga tends to be available, if you catch my drift.
In a store.
Yeah,
I'm
I love commerce. It is also supposedly getting an anime adaptation at some point, but I
Ooh.
don't see like a confirmed date anywhere.
Oh, but sounds interesting. All right.
That's it.
That's all we got.
That's all I've got.
All right. Well, Peter, I think you know what time it is.
indeed.
Peter, the horse is here.
To be updated on videos, you have to subscribe to the channel. That's how it works. Come on! There's no time! You'll miss out on the next video! Subscribe! Subscribe! Subscribe!